This is a tale of another Japan, the one hidden in the folds of history, invisible in official chronicles. It is obscured, elusive, yet it truly existed. The word ninja is known the world over now, almost synonymous with the ultimate assassin, black garb, throwing stars, superhuman leaps, warriors of the night. But did such figures really exist? How much of the ninja we imagine is rooted in fact, and how much is fiction? The widely accepted image of the ninja is largely a phantom conjured by later generations, the black-robed figure scaling walls, vanishing in smoke, gliding through the night. In reality, the shinobi, as they were truly called, were nothing like that archetype. Black robes, acrobatics, shuriken, smoke bombs, superhuman strength, those are the ninjas of legend. The real ones did not behave like that. Their image emerged not on the battlefield, but in the theater of the Edo period, on kabuki stages, in adventure novels of the Meiji era, and later in the films and manga of the modern age. The ninja of story differs wildly from the ninja of reality. In truth, historical shinobi disliked standing out more than anything. They wore grays and browns, disguised as farmers, travelers, or merchants. Their mission, to win without fighting. They crossed enemy land silently, doing work in the shadows. They stole messages, spread rumors, used gunpowder for distraction, carried floating shoes to cross rivers, and grappling hooks to scale walls, all without raising alarm. Their real strength wasn't in mass combat. It was in vanishing without trace and doing what could never be recorded. Their combat ability was often inferior to that of the samurai, but their weapon was something else entirely, their mind. For the shinobi, intelligence had no blade but could change the outcome of wars. They read the terrain, understood nature, moved silent as the wind, used poisons, measured the moon, harnessed the weather. The art of ninjutsu was not magic, but a system of observation, memory, craft, training, and survival know-how. They deceived, influenced, and disrupted without shedding blood. Their names seldom appear in history, yet their shadow power caught the attention of warlords during Japan's most turbulent times. Chapter 1: Origins of the Shadows. The roots of this silent brotherhood stretch deep into Japan's past. Some legends trace them to the early 12th century, perhaps even earlier, but their clearest emergence comes from the Age of Chaos, the Warring States period, known as the Sengoku era. During this time, Japan was a fractured land, domains constantly fighting, loyalty shifting like the wind. It was an era of fire and steel, when deceit was often more useful than valor. Two regions in particular became known for their mastery of this silent art, the provinces of Iga and Kōga. Nestled among misty mountains and deep valleys, their isolation became their advantage. In these lands, villagers and outcasts honed the arts of stealth and subterfuge. They were not noble samurai bound by rigid codes of honor, they were survivalists, inventors, and observers. They learned to move unseen, to strike when necessary, and to vanish like smoke. Many of these early shinobi came from lower classes, peasants, farmers, wanderers, people who had to adapt to a world that offered them no place among the mighty. They turned to tactics that samurai would consider dishonorable, but in doing so, they found power in invisibility. Their discipline was simple but profound: blend in, stay silent, disappear. Chapter 2: Masters of the Land and Mind. Why Iga? Why Kōga? The answer lies in the land itself. The mountainous terrain of those regions offered both protection and training grounds. It forced those who lived there to become self-reliant, cunning, and watchful. Every river, tree, and shadow became an ally. The shinobi learned from nature, from foxes that vanished in the underbrush, from hawks that struck unseen, from the wind that carried whispers. They trained their bodies for endurance, their eyes for darkness, and their minds for patience. They became masters of disguise, blending in as farmers, monks, pilgrims, or traders. Their true weapon was not the sword but information. Knowing where the enemy moved, how they thought, and when they would strike, that was more valuable than any blade. They became experts in intelligence, infiltration, sabotage, and escape. They could traverse mountains unseen, swim across rivers on makeshift rafts, climb walls with hooks, and light fires in the enemy's storehouses without being detected. To the samurai, these methods were cowardly. To the shinobi, they were survival and strategy. Chapter 3. The Age of Unrest. As Japan descended deeper into war during the 15th and 16th centuries, the shinobi became indispensable. Warlords, known as daimyo, began to hire them to spy, sabotage, or assassinate rivals. They became the invisible hand guiding victory or defeat. Their reports could alter entire campaigns. Their silence could save entire armies. They gathered intelligence about troop movements, morale, food supplies, secret passages, and even the temperament of enemy generals. Through whispers and misdirection, they could break armies before swords ever clashed. But with power came fear. The very talents that made shinobi valuable also made them dangerous. They could turn on anyone. They could appear from nowhere. They could not be fully controlled. So some daimyo tried to destroy them, none more famously than a powerful warlord whose dream was to unify Japan under his rule. Chapter 4. The Great Hunt for Shadows. The mountains of Iga and Kōga were the last bastions of freedom. There, small communities of hidden warriors lived under a loose self-governing alliance, a society without a single ruler, where collective strength came from shared secrecy. But that defiance could not last forever. When the great warlord's armies marched, he saw the ninja not as allies, but as unpredictable threats to his order. He sought to wipe them out completely. The first invasion failed. Despite overwhelming numbers, the attacking force was ambushed, misled, and outmaneuvered by far smaller defenders. The warlord was humiliated. So he returned with fire. The second invasion was ruthless. Villages were burned. Strongholds destroyed. Families scattered. The mountains glowed red with flames. Many of the oldest ninja clans were wiped out, their names lost forever. The survivors melted into the forests, abandoning even their identities. But shadows are hard to kill. Not long after, the warlord who had sought to destroy them met a mysterious end, betrayed and surrounded, forced to take his own life. How could such a perfect ambush occur? How could a man so powerful be caught so completely unaware? Some say the mountains he burned sent their ghosts to finish him. Others whisper that those who once hid in darkness struck back in silence, their vengeance carried out without ever being seen. Chapter 5. The Shogun of Shadows. After the flames of war came a new order, one built not just by swords, but by secrets. Among the great leaders who rose from the ashes was Tokugawa Ieyasu. Unlike others, he did not see the ninja merely as tools or threats. He understood their value, and their loyalty. During his rise to power, when enemies surrounded him, the remnants of the Iga and Kōga ninja guided him through perilous terrain, helping him evade capture and return safely to his base. He never forgot their service. When Tokugawa later unified Japan and established his shogunate, he brought these shadow warriors into official service. No longer mere mercenaries, they became an intelligence arm of the state. Under Ieyasu, the ninja were reorganized, not as assassins, but as eyes and ears of the government. They watched over Edo Castle, patrolled the streets, and gathered information about threats both foreign and domestic. The famous Hattori clan, led by Hattori Hanzo, became legendary guardians of the shogun's palace. Their loyalty, precision, and silence set the standard for generations to come. For the first time, the shadows were recognized, not as enemies, but as instruments of peace. Chapter 6. The Age of Quiet Shadows. As peace settled over Japan under the Tokugawa rule, the need for open warfare disappeared. But the shogunate understood that peace must still be protected from within. So the skills of the ninja evolved once again. They shifted from espionage in battlefields to intelligence within society. They became investigators, security agents, and covert messengers. Their networks extended across the country, hidden within temples, markets, and even theaters. They could track whispers of rebellion, uncover plots, or deliver secret orders that no one else could. The once wild ninjutsu arts were refined into subtle crafts of listening, watching, and waiting. The shadows that once protected villages now safeguarded the stability of the nation. But not all shinobi accepted this domesticated life. Some, preferring the freedom of the mountains, vanished once more. They left without word or reward, disappearing as quietly as they had lived. They were not traitors. They were loyal in their own way, loyal to their code of invisibility. To serve without name, to act without recognition, to vanish without trace. Chapter 7. The Birth of the Myth. Generations later, as centuries passed and wars faded from memory, the real ninja slowly transformed into legend. During the peaceful Edo period, the people's fascination with tales of the mysterious grew. Writers and playwrights turned these silent warriors into larger-than-life heroes. Kabuki theater dressed them in black, symbolizing invisibility on stage. Adventure novels made them superhuman. Films, manga, and later video games carried their image across the world. Thus, the true shinobi, farmers by day, spies by night, silent thinkers in the dark, became mythical figures of fantasy, unstoppable assassins who could vanish in a puff of smoke. The myth spread across continents. The world fell in love with the symbol, forgetting the human stories behind it. But beneath the exaggeration lies a quiet truth: these people once existed. They changed history not through violence, but through intelligence. They were not magicians. They were survivors. Chapter 8. The Vanishing Names. Why, then, do we know so few of their real names? Why does history remain silent on those who influenced it from the shadows? Because their very existence depended on secrecy. To reveal themselves was to break the code. To speak their achievements was to undo their purpose. They chose obscurity. They lived without credit, and they died without recognition. The victories of great generals were often written in history books, but behind those victories stood unseen minds, nameless men and women who risked everything without expectation of fame. They were ghosts who walked among the living, real, but invisible. Their reward was survival, not legacy. Their success was to never be noticed. In that choice lies a profound paradox: they shaped history by erasing themselves from it. Chapter 9. Echoes Beneath Our Feet. Today, centuries later, traces of the shinobi still linger, not in grand monuments, but in whispers of the land. In the quiet valleys of Iga and Kōga, old shrines bear faint carvings of unknown origin. Place names hint at old strongholds. Local folklore tells of men who vanished in mist, or who could run across rivers on wooden sandals. Perhaps we walk atop their unrecorded footsteps without even realizing it. Perhaps the wind that brushes the old stone paths carries faint echoes of their breath. Their stories are scattered, their names forgotten, yet their spirit remains. The spirit of patience, observation, and quiet strength. The spirit of those who found power not in being seen, but in being unseen. Epilogue. The last lesson of the shadows. So what can we learn from these ghosts of history? That power does not always roar. Sometimes it whispers. Sometimes it waits. The shinobi's greatest strength was not their weapons, nor their tricks, but their mindset. They understood that true control came from understanding. From patience. From invisibility. They thrived not by dominating others, but by adapting to every circumstance, by seeing what others ignored, and by acting when the time was right. They lived by a philosophy: to win without fighting, to move without trace, to exist without ego. Their story reminds us that greatness is not always recognized. Sometimes, the truest victories are those the world never sees. And perhaps that is the final irony, that the most invisible people in history have become some of the most famous in legend. Whether you believe in the ninja as heroes of fantasy, or accept them as the silent observers of reality, one truth remains. They were here. They watched. They shaped the world. And then they vanished. Their legacy lives not in light, but in the quiet, eternal shadows of the rising sun.